All right, warning. If you are easily triggered by robust and blunt political discussions, this is not for you. If you need a safe space or an echo chamber, this is certainly not for you. The feelings generated by me can have profound and lasting effects, like exuberant feelings of American pride, great confidence in America's future, and the unwavering belief that America is the greatest nation on earth. Kicking off the live broadcast and Real America's Voice and MTN and reaching a growing global audience, this is, my friends, the Steve Gruber Show, and here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, I've been out of the chair for a few days, as you know, and boy, it sounds like it got a little nutty around here. Bad storms and stock market theatrics, so we'll be cleaning up and getting going today. Number two, after getting delayed by some antics last week, the House is back in stride and pursuing the Trump agenda. Full steam ahead, everybody. Hang on. And number three, so the doom and gloom crowd, very disappointed and dejected today. Black Monday hit a giant anticlimactic wall. Black Monday didn't happen. Yeah, Jim Cramer. All wrong again, and so were scores of other so-called experts. Now, having said that, the bouncy ride is certainly not over. In fact, Dow futures this morning, just looking at the chart there, up 800. Up 800. So the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 all in the green in pre-market trading. Look, 2025 will be a year of big ups and big downs, and a lot of big surprises, too. And on that, you can bet the farm. Big changes come with big challenges. But today, Democrats are deeply disappointed that Wall Street didn't go full Chernobyl to start the week. It's what they were cheering for. The rest of us are cheering for America. Last year, the majority of Americans agreed that the country was headed in the wrong direction, and 77.5 million voted to shake things up. So they reelected President Donald Trump. And you know, that's exactly what he's doing, shaking things up big time. The headlines are sounding the alarm. The markets are going through some significant turbulence, and as a result of President Trump's Liberation Day plans. What's the plan? To make America great again. By demanding that the rest of the world pay up if they want access to our markets, or at least be on the same level playing field. Americans want to see a thriving Main Street, healthy hometowns, not shuttered businesses and skyrocketing unemployment. And to do that, we've simply got to get jobs back in America, and we've got to reduce the trade deficit. We have to bring jobs and business back home to America. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. I have faith in his plan, even if it means we've got to endure some bumps along the way and, yes, suffer a little bit. Keep in mind that the headlines are failing to paint the whole picture, which is very predictable, by the way, from the left. But when the facts are there for all to see, it's hard to argue what is happening. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent wiped the floor with NBC's Kristen Welker when he pointed out that there's a lot more to the story than is being reported. Listen to this.
Kristen, what I like is data. And if we look at data from President Trump's first term, and there's a big study that just came out from a group of economists, mostly at MIT, that showed that a 20% tariff on China led to a 0.7% tax or price level increase over 4 years. I think that's pretty good. If we can take in 20% in tariffs and it's a 0.7% increase. And Kristen, the little publicized story this week, everyone wants to look at the stock market going down. You know what else went down? Oil prices went down almost 15% in 2 days, which impacts working Americans much more than the stock market does. Interest rates hit their low for the year, so I'm expecting the mortgage applications to pick up.
Well, just to be very clear, though, I mean, during President Trump's first terms, the cost to Americans was nearly $80 billion in new taxes due to his tariffs. Prices did go up on everything from washing machines to tires.
Well, no, but let's go back. The aggregate number was 0.7, so we can discern the individual things. Also, households saw real net wages go up. So if wages go up faster than prices, which is not what happened over the past 4 years, that's why the bottom 50% got eviscerated.
Bam. You see that? Cool as a cucumber. The Treasury Secretary understands President Trump's master plan, and his faith will deliver it to the American people. Dissent says the Trump administration is focusing on the needs of the working class, working people, the middle class in this country. He's willing to let the Wall Street executives take a little hit if it means the average American can afford a house, put gas in their cars again, and put food on the table. Listen to these shocking statistics.
The top 10% of Americans own 88% of equities, 88% of the stock market. The next 40% owns 12% of the stock market. The bottom 50 has debt.
Yeah.
They have credit card bills, they rent their homes, they have auto loans, and we've got to give them some relief.
We've got to give them relief. Now, if I remember correctly, and help me out if I'm wrong, but I think the popular slogan from the left has been, and still is, eat the rich. But now they're all in a tizzy that stockholders are in a panic? Weird. Sounds pretty hypocritical to me. We may very well be in a bear market. It's not the end of the world. We've seen this before. In fact, as recently as 2022, the market was not doing very well. The difference was that the administration at that time wasn't working overtime behind the scenes to secure the best deals for the American people on the global stage going forward like they are now. President Trump believes there's no better time to do the right thing than right now. We were going to have to confront our trade deficit at some point, and I trust that he's the man to do the job. Here's a bit more. Listen.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do this, what I'm doing. And I'll tell you what, it's an honor to do it because we have been just destroyed, what they've done to our system. You know, we have $36 trillion of debt for a reason. And the reason is that people allowed it to get that way. So we'll be talking to China. We'll be talking to a lot of different countries. And I think, you know, if we can make a really fair deal and a good deal for the United States, not a good deal for others. This is America first. It's now America first. And we didn't put America first. We put America last. The people that were in the Oval Office put America last, and we're not going to stand for it.
Nerves of steel. He sees the job that needs to be done, and he's going to do it until it's done right. He's not going to stop. This is a man who doesn't have to worry about trying to pander to the elites to win another term. He's diving headfirst into a high-risk, high-reward endeavor that could be the thing that puts America back on top to stay. Here's those nerves of steel I'm talking about. Listen to this.
How do you ensure, Mr. President, that these tariffs don't drive U.S. trading partners into the hands of the Chinese?
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. If they want to be in the hands of the U.S., they don't want to be in the hands of the Chinese. And the Chinese have turned out to be really not very good at that. People that are with us, they're with us. But we cannot be taken advantage of any longer. I used to watch these deals for years. I've been talking about it for years. You know, I've been talking about it for 35 years, how our country is being ripped off. I mean, 30 years ago it was Japan, then it was something else, then it was another group, then it was China. China's doing the best job of it, frankly, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. In fact, he's so confident in that he is raising the stakes against China a few more notches. I'll have that when we come back. But he is going to turn up the heat on China. China is not winning this hand. America is. Good to be back. It's the Steve Gruber Show. I hope you're not easily triggered. If you are, well, sit back and enjoy either way. I'll be right back. How sad is it that these people sit there and root against this country? How sad is it that those on the left sit there and root against America? Cheer on a market crash. Oh, it'll be great for politics. Horrible for the American family, but great for politics. Looking across the board, the Dow Jones, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, the Nikkei, the Euro stocks, the DEC, right across the board, green, 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 green. Green. In fact, it looks like the Dow could be up 800 points today. You see, this is what putting America first looks like. And Donald Trump is raising the stakes against China. Everybody's trying to say, look, these tariffs are creating this worldwide problem. Not for us. Globally, yes. Stock markets are down globally. Hong Kong was down 13% to start the week. Their stock exchange, 13% down. But it's a big hit. And we've gone into bear territory on the S&P and the NASDAQ. We understand that. But now it looks like we're rallying back. Adjusting. And coming up a little bit here, Nick Hopwood's going to join me. We're going to talk about this in detail. All right. Meanwhile, Donald Trump not stepping back, not laying down. In fact, he's going to raise the stakes on China. Listen to this.
With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that were in the White House that allowed this to happen. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year they'd make on us on trade, and it shouldn't be that way.
I think that would take the tariffs on Chinese-made goods to over 100%. 100%. You want things built in America? Do that to China. Things will be built here in America. By the way, the investment, while I was gone out of town on spring break with the kids, $7 trillion, the last number I saw, of new investment earmarked for the United States, car factories and other facilities, microchips, everything coming back to America. And look, Donald Trump clearly not messing around, and already deals being made, like I said, wins being handed to the American people. Listen to a former chief of staff of the president. Here it is.
Well, he says over 50 leaders have reached out, tried to get calls with the president. I think Vietnam is one that could, they've also said they want to go to zero. I think Taiwan could very quickly add in some things like more purchases of American-made weapons, spend more on defense. Look, I think, John, we're going to have a domino effect of countries all over the globe shaping up, or they're going to have to live with a permanent situation where America is no longer going to be the chump and take what other countries are dishing out at us. And President Trump, like he said, is resetting the global trading system, and he's doing it in a remarkably short period of time.
A remarkably short period of time. You know, I don't imagine that Donald Trump's biting his nails in fear. Look, it's early in the morning in Washington. He's up early every single day. Not in fear. No, he's working, and he's seeing the rewards of this calculated risk because he knows, and we know, that tariffs are just one piece of the puzzle for his America First agenda. The administration is slashing taxes, cutting back on regulations, weeding out waste, fraud, and abuse to lower government spending. That's key. Securing our borders, and it's all going to add up to one big economic boom. Trump 2.0 is all about going all in. All in. He's not halfway in. He's not 1 foot in and 1 foot out. No, he's all in. He's been wanting to do this for decades. Don't believe me? Listen to this.
And yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
There you have it. What was that, 30 years ago? A young Donald Trump on Oprah? He knew all the way back then. Here's another throwback for you. Democrats used to be on board with this kind of policy as long as it wasn't coming from Donald Trump, whether it was 1996 or 2018 or anytime. Listen to these top dog Democrats.
How far does China have to go How much more repression, how big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker, and how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo. And if there's one message that I want our colleagues to understand today and our constituents is that on this day, your member of Congress could have drawn the line to say to the President of the United States, do something about this U.S.-China trade relationship that is a job loser for the United States.
It's also proper for advanced economies like the United States to insist on reciprocity from nations like China that are no longer solely poor countries, to make sure that they're providing access to their markets and that they stop taking intellectual property and hacking our servers.
And there you have it. That was Nancy Pelosi, by the way, 1996. Since that time, they've sold out or fallen victim to Trump derangement syndrome, whatever you want to call it. Not President Trump. He's standing up for what he knows is right. He's not shaken by the stock market's reaction. He's playing the long game to win for you and for me. Those who aren't as confident want to know if he's going to cave, but just yesterday he told reporters he's not considering any pauses. No pauses, no deals. That's right. This is the consistent message across the administration. It doesn't matter who you talk to there. We're in this all in. Trump is all in on putting America first. For the last several years, we've heard the left and the neocons beat the drums of actual war in Ukraine and elsewhere, yelling from the rooftops that the fight for so-called democracy hundreds of miles away was worth our dollars and our boots on the ground if it came to that. That was not true. They were willing to sell out the American people for literal war, but they don't have the stomach to handle a trade war? Give me a break. It's good to be back. It's good to see America back. Yes, the stock market's a little rattled. It's going to go up today. Some concern, sure. Hang in there, my friends. Hang in there. Have some faith. God bless America. We're doing this together, all of us. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Well, this part of the program brought to you by 1775 Coffee. You deserve more than weak mass-produced coffee. You deserve 1775 Coffee. Single origin, high altitude, hand-picked and roasted for bold, uncompromising flavor. No chemicals, no toxins. Just damn good coffee that fuels your day the right way. Find out more at 1775coffee.com/Gruber. Use the promo code Gruber for 10% off, and every dollar you spend is an entry to win a Tesla Cybertruck and $30,000 cash. Wake up. Stand up for something important. Drink 1775 Coffee. Yeah, get on board the truth train. 1775coffee.com/Gruber. All right, so look, the Supreme Court, a big decision yesterday. Yes, Donald Trump can deport Venezuelan gangbangers to El Salvador. So says the Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision. The 5-4 part caught my attention too. Who's the justice that's standing against Donald Trump? Amy Coney Barrett. She's going to be a problem long term. She is going to be a problem long term. Amy Coney Barrett is a problem and a poor decision, it looks like, by Donald Trump in his first term. Maybe we'll get a chance to replace another justice before this term is over. We'll see. So the Supreme Court 5-4 granted the administration's request to lift the stay and a temporary victory for the Trump administration, they're going to start tossing more people out immediately, I can tell you that. Meanwhile, a bad decision by the Supreme Court. They block a challenge to New York's controversial gun law. You see, after the Supreme Court ruled on guns here a couple of times in the last 20 years, the state of New York went out and put in rules like you have to be in good moral character to have a concealed carry permit. Well, the Supreme Court has decided not to take up this controversial decision by a lower court. They're going to let it stand. Terrible decision. Making John Roberts suspect. You see, this Supreme Court thing is good some days, and other days, they never err on the side of conservatism, do they? They never err on the side of what's best for America, do they? All right. Still to come today, Nick Hopwood is going to be here. We're going to talk about these markets and everything that's going on. How are you looking today? Pretty good, I hope. It's good to be back, by the way. Nice to see you today. I'll take a break. It's the Steve Gruber Show.